Hey everybody. Well, this is part two of my favorite non-superhero films. Last we left off, we talked about Don't Be a Menace. Don't Be a Menace. So please, like I said, check that out. But now, next one, probably like the best. Personally, I think it's the best interpretation of Dracula. I mentioned this many times during a lot of my walkthroughs, video game walkthroughs about like horror and stuff like that. And a lot of people recommend it what's a good horror movie. I usually like to point this out off the top of my head. There's others, but Dracula Untold is like a great film. Luke Evans as Dracula. When I saw this in the first trailer, it was blew my mind because like if you ever watched the Avatar, you seen like Aang Airbend, seen Toph Earthbend, Zuko Firebend. This dude bends bats and has this like all kinds of awesome turns into bats and everything like that. It's like a good combination of the real life Vlad the Impaler combined with his myth of being Dracula, the king of all monsters. Uh, uh, Not to put too fine point on it, and it's like this could have been like I repeated it constantly. This could have been like a proper uh, uh, beginning for the uh, more modern version of the classic movie monsters. The way they, especially when they ended it on, it could have easily, meshed well with like the Invisible Man, the Wolfman of the time. It's like Luke Evans' Dracula is like top notch. I loved his version of Dracula better than like anyone that I've seen prior. And there's been other people who play Dracula, but it's more the very Bela Lugosi version of it. And this kind of like put it, you know, meshes well with realism and not that suave seducer. More like he's an actual creature of the night, a very he's the prince of Wallachia, protecting his kingdom. He behaves like a king, and he will uh, kill. He has to, but it's like one of those like a good classic horror film makes the monster tragic in a sense, and this uh, pays that off well. You'll see if you ever want to see the movie. You'll see what I'm talking about. You might get a kick out of this. This is like a very good Dracula film. I cannot highly recommend it enough. I watch this every chance I get, but more specifically, I watch this every October. It's probably one of my favorite movies to watch during the month of October. So yeah, Dracula Untold, very good film, very good Dracula film, and I wish they seem like they might be bringing back the shared universe of the classic horror movie monsters, which ironically it was them who started the whole shared universe idea. They the ones who started. Universal was the ones who created that concept back in the day, with bringing Wolfman and the Mummy and Dracula and Wolfman, Invisible Man and Frankenstein all together. They the ones who started all that, and it's weird how they could not do it right at first because they made that same mistake with DC did at the beginning, where they trying to play catch up and try to put everything all together and rush it, not making a single story at a time and weaving the tale into multiple franchises uh, uh, seamlessly. They just worry about, okay, we're making a mummy movie with Tom Cruise in it. He's and don't get me started on Tom Cruise. This dude's like always put his ego into everything he does. It irks me to no end what he did with the Mummy movie. It could have been a great idea with a female mummy, which the classic horror movie monsters is like pretty much a sausage fest aside from Bride of Frankenstein, but everybody else is pretty much all dudes. So a female mummy would have been a great idea. That part wasn't the issue. It's Tom Cruise interfering with everything with his ego, and he has to be the main star. And it's like He wasn't supposed to be. At least I don't think he's supposed to have been. But whatever. Uh, it gets on my skin every time I think about it. He screwed up. It could have been a great movie. But anyway, uh, there was too much worry. There was too much worry about setting up the franchise and shared universe rather than making a single story. That was their problem. Now they fixing it after the Invisible Man movie, which I'll get to soon on this list, but they're finally on the right path, as well as DC. Drop Dead Fred. Yeah, this is pretty much like Beetlejuice, but with an imaginary friend. I liked this as a kid. All I remember is pretty much like this a girl who seemed to like was I don't know was dealing with like some personal issues. It's been a long time since I've seen this film, but pretty much as I recall, she was just like a teenager having a hard time with her family. Was an overbearing mother, I think, and like she used to have like an imaginary friend until like they probably trying to nip that in the butt. Thought she was weird, like a weirdo, and like one of those outsiders kind of story. That people don't understand her. We all had that feeling, but then her imaginary friend, uh, Fred, comes back, uh, just to try to, you know, put her head on straight in a way, trying to reclaim her sense of joy that she seemed like she might feel lost in a way. It's hilarious. It's pretty much almost like Beetlejuice in a way. It's pretty much the same beat with a wacky character that does all these crazy little antics with using imaginary powers. But yeah, Drop Dead Fred. You ever seen it? It's like I'm pretty sure it was in the late '80s into the early '90s. Pretty sure it's early '90s. But yeah, don't know who this actor is. I'm pretty sure he's still alive, but I never seen him in. I might have seen him and stuff, but I just don't recognize him. But he was very funny to me as a kid. Jackie Chan, Drunken Master, man, uh, definitely uh, well deserved to be on this list. I gotta tell you, it's like it's like if you ever watched Naruto, the kid Rock Lee was pretty much based off of Bruce Lee and Jackie Chan in a way with their martial arts skills and Jet Li and all combined into one. I didn't bring this up when I was mentioning Bruce Lee in my uh, uh, segment on him, the brief segment on him, but he taught Jackie Chan in a way. Jackie Chan was in one of his earliest Bruce Lee films, but he wasn't well known. He was probably very too young to be recognized. But uh, Drunken Master was very good, and when he really got his stardom flourishing after Rush Hour, and Drunken Master is really like people never understood, never knew about drunken boxing until Drunken Master came about. And it's like that's a cool martial arts skill. And I'm pretty sure you can look up, uh, you know, uh, the style of fighting of the drunken boxing uh, online and see how it's done. But little known fact, you don't have to be drunk in order to use drunken boxing moves. But it's a very martial arts. It requires very high discipline, or at least a fair bit of discipline, to learn a lot of skills. But training to learn a drunken boxing move, uh, if you've watched the film, uh, shows a little bit of that. So, and Jackie Chan is hilarious in anything he's in. But yeah, Drunken Master, you can look it up, check it out. It's a very good film. DreamWorks, man. El Road to El Dorado. I love this movie. Uh, I don't know the two voice act. The only voice actor I recognize in this film was Rosie Perez, who played uh, a Aztec woman. Because it's just I never knew about El Dorado, at least the thought of or the term or the place of El Dorado until this movie came out. And it's like it's played up for last, but a lot of people in history tried to go on a lot of these expeditions to El Dorado to try to find the lost city of gold, and which is supposed to be in like South America. But this is like a funny movie that plays on like the comedic idea of that, but it also weaves into like the Spaniards, or at least people conquistadors who went to Mexico and South America, pretty much, not to put too fine point on it, but pillaged, killed a lot of these people trying to find the lost city of gold. Of course, they have a lot of gold trinkets, but they killed them and tortured them trying to find a lost city of gold, which is why you got like things like uh what's that guy's name? Because I'm going to do like a uh video commentary for each episode of The Deadliest Warrior, and one of the warriors is he did like a episode versus Ivan the Terrible. Uh, Hernan Cortez. Hernan Cortez. They didn't have Hernan Cortez in this movie, but they have soldiers like him and people that he led that came and you know who were like the bad guys in this. But yeah, this is just a comedic version. That's like a different, not a specific telling of something like that happening, but just one of those kind of funny stories about finding like a lost city. It's kind of like the Disney movie Atlantis: The Lost Empire. That plays on that same trope of finding a lost mystical city. That is very good, but it's probably not on my list. I don't think it's on my list, but it's on Disney Plus. Atlantis: The Lost Empire, great animated film. But Road to El Dorado is not Disney, it's DreamWorks, so it's not on Disney Plus, unfortunately. So I had to look this up because it's been a while since I've seen this. It's very good. And these two characters, I forgot what their names are, but they play off each other very well. Their comedic timing is phenomenal. I love this movie. Very good. And the opening has a great song that's like really set the tone to it throughout the film. So yeah, please check it out. Fast and the Furious. Now, I have my issues with the Fast and Furious franchise, to be honest, because after a while it very much went off the rails. Is I think around Fast Five, that's when like after Fast Five, that's when they started to dip for me because like okay, these are supposed to be like another heist kind of movie, but with cars, and it was like a cool idea and it was so much fun. But Too Fast, Too Furious was my favorite one. And then Tokyo Drift is easily well, the very first Fast and Furious movie I love very much too. But I rewatched Tokyo Drift and Too Fast, Too Furious more times than anyone. Oh, not anyone, but more times than any of the other films. But it was Tokyo Drift that really solidified for me that I want to visit Tokyo so bad, not because just the anime, but just to be in this city of Tokyo, Japan, just to be around all of this environment and just explore and see all the stuff I've seen on anime hundreds of times over. And it's like Tokyo just really solidified that and made it look so much cool and fun. But Too Fast, Too Furious is supposed to have been like a heist movie, or at least placate to that type of genre. And like this is probably the only films I actually enjoy car chases in, and the look of cool cars. Because I have a little brother who's a gearhead. He loves cars too. I never had like any kind of appeal or interest in like cars or anything like that. Uh, but I understood the appreciation when I saw the Fast and Furious films. But I stopped after five. Especially after unfortunately Paul Walker passed away so tragically. I think like after a while, you pretty much lost the soul of the movie. Now you got like you know uh you're working with a guy. After a while, they start have Jason Statham as one of the bad guys in one of the movies, and have I forgot Ronda Rousey as one of his henchwomen, and it's like uh, this guy spoiler in that movie, I forgot which number it was. They're already on Fast 9. Killed Han, which I love that actor. I don't know the actor's name off the top of my head, but I just know him as Han. And it's like, I love that character, and you sitting there kill him off, and then after a while, the next one we gotta work together with him. Realistically, I just want to say, right here and now, if somebody, God forbid, killed your friend, but then year or two later, something comes out where you have to work together with that guy to stop a bigger guy. Why the hell would I do that? And it's like bring him into the fold or anything like that. I don't. Even if you have to work with somebody like that, I'm not inviting you to the family barbecue afterwards. I don't give a crap what we've been through. You killed my friend. You're not. Nothing's going to erase that. I might not try to kill you at the very least, but I'm not going to socialize with you. And it's like, and then of course there's like this beef with Vin Diesel and The Rock in one of the films, and it kind of really like screwed things up on set. But they didn't even want to be in the same scene together. It was that bad. And then they had to do like a different offshoot, like the Fast and Furious presents Hobbs and Shaw. And it's like, what are you doing? And then now they talking about getting to space. It's like you're missing the whole point of this whole entire franchise in the first place. It's like they told a story of Batman where his parents got shot and he wants to become Batman, so he's training. But he also wants to uh, open an ice cream shop, but then his struggling business with like a dance hall is in trouble, so you got to deal with that. And then he has to you know be a seamstress to have a cousin. And it's like you're doing too much. And then that seamstress got her own film franchise and stuff like that about being a seamstress. And it's like, where is this all going? You're all over the place. Stay in your lane. No pun intended. Stay in your lane. And it's like you going all over the place with this, and it's just like it's a jumbled mess. I lost interest. I don't care. I'm surprised people, keeping this alive. I love the actors involved, but and it's like at a certain point you're dropping not dropping a ball, but you're missing the point of the entire franchise of where it started out as. It's supposed to have been just like a series of heist films. And now you're trying to travel to space where you're still on the moon? Oh, speaking of still on the moon, I didn't put this on the list. Because there's a lot of movies that, like, I watched a lot of movies and not a lot of them made the list. Still on the Moon reminds me of Despicable Me and Despicable Me 2. Those two movies are very good too. I want to put that out there now because before I forget. Despicable Me 1 and 2 are very good films that deserve a mention. Highly recommended those if you didn't see them. But then they fell off after the Minions got too annoying, and then they made a third one, but uh, there was a certain dip in quality. But yeah, the first two Despicable Me movies definitely deserve a shout out. And the Fast and the Furious, the first one I knew I had it on the list. All right, Father of the Bride. Uh, this is only had two parts to it. Uh, Steve Martin's a hilarious character. It's like another SNL alum, and it's like I watched this as a kid, and this got me weary of having a daughter. Like I'm scared. One day when I have a kid, I really wanted to have a son. I don't want to have a daughter because I don't want to go. Because knowing me, I do not want to go because I'll be acting just like this guy acted in this movie, where his daughter come home from Rome from studying abroad, uh, uh, comes back to announce he's engaged to a guy she only met for a few months, and if that, and you haven't met this dude at all. And it's like, and then they give him crap from reacting the way he reacts. It's like, no, he's right. She ain't married some dude that she just met a little while, and I haven't even talked with them. It's like, of course, hijinks ensues. He does learn to like this kid, obviously, but it's like, it's a hilarious take on, like, I guess, parents and how to deal with, like, if they have daughters and, what it would probably be like in a way. But it's just like, no way on earth. I wouldn't go out like that. It's like, F that. I don't care what you say. I don't care what my wife says. I'm kicking this dude out until you get your mind right. It's like, there's no way in hell you're marry some dude after a few months of knowing him. And then, of course, there's like the sequel to that when they actually have like a baby and he has to deal with that. All right, another Tom Hanks movie, Forrest Gump. Now, this is like really, personally, I think this is the one, I think a lot of people might agree that Tom Hanks, this one catapulted Tom Hanks' stardom to like levels beyond recognition, because this movie was so good. I watched it several times growing up. It's one of those long movies, but it's like one of those movies where like they have like this character Jenny, who I have like a very deep-seated issue with, because if you haven't seen the movie, I do highly recommend it. It's one of my favorite Tom Hanks films. But the lady named Jenny was a horrible human being. Now I understand, like in the movie she gone through. This is telling a movie with him growing up through the '60s South into maybe like modern day '90s probably, and or maybe late '80s, early '90s. But he's a slow individual, but he formed this bond of friendship with this woman named Jenny, who had like a bad upbringing herself with abusive parents. So she went to eventually live with her grandmother or aunt or something like that. But then she gone to college. She been around, dropped out, been around these bad people, and gone to all these like drugs and abusive relationships. And every time she runs into Forrest, who gone on a path of like cool, like being a football jock, joined the army, became a war hero, met a couple of presidents, and like every time you meet this dude, you treat him like, not treat him like crap, but you just like, this man been good to you. You pretty much taking advantage of him in a way. And then I don't want to spoil the ending, but it's like she and the lady from the Titanic, the female lead in the Titanic, that character, I hate those two characters with a passion, because you let Leonardo DiCaprio die in like a freezing cold Arctic water while you're floating on like a big door. When Mythbusters mentioned this, that door was big enough for two people. So you let Leonardo DiCaprio die. You didn't even bother to take turns, at the very least. What the hell? And then this woman sitting there taking advantage of a mentally slow individual that has been nothing but nice and like a genuine good man. And it's like, what is wrong with you? It boggles the mind, and people think like I might be thinking a little too seriously, but come on, they're not good leads. They're supposed to have been good people on paper. When watching this movie, you really look between the lines, they're not good people. They're really not good people towards the male leads in this thing. But The Forrest Gump, all in all, is a very good movie, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. This movie, I don't think like got much prestige. I'm not sure how it went in the box office, but I seen this on DVD one time. This is the first time I actually watched it because I think my stepmother just had it one day, and I watched it. And this, I didn't know who Ryan Gosling was in this. I think this time he was only playing second fiddle to Anthony Hopkins because he's Anthony Hopkins, but I did not know Ryan Gosling's name. He's relatively unknown at the time, but I guess he was kind of like his first big lead outside of The Notebook, which is not on this list. I don't really care for The Notebook, but every guy only saw The Notebook because a girl made him watch it with her. There's always this same dang story. But anyway, Fracture is another great thriller. It's like crime drama thriller. Of course, Anthony Hopkins always, not always, but he does have that kind of placate type to that killer kind of. He gives everything he's in gives off a certain Hannibal Lecter vibe because like he does that so well he just cannot get away from that. It's like he just exudes creepiness and like he look like he will eat you. Because look at his stare in the photo right now. I mean, it's like he gives you that cold stare. It's like if you're alone with him, he will kill you. Not real life. I'm just saying like any like you will think that given the fact that his glorious skill at playing that Hannibal Lecter. But this movie Fracture is a great thriller about like this very intelligent guy who committed a murder, and of course the poster said like I shot my wife, prove it. It's like yeah, he killed his wife. Very smart, crime scenes so good it's like darn near impossible to prove that he actually did it, and like this hotshot lawyer is going home trying to solve the case. So it's very good. If you like crime drama and thrillers, you might get a kick out of watching Fracture. The Friday movies. Now I was waiting to get to this part. Now the Friday movies, of course, was a big thing growing up. The first Friday movie still holds up as far as like increase that a little bit. Probably should leave it be, but I'm gonna stretch out just a little bit. Yeah, next Friday, and Friday after next. Those are great films, and it's like it's hard to say because Friday after next is a Christmas movie. I don't watch that third one as often as I do. Matter of fact, the first one I watch more often than the second or third one. But it's just like if I feel the need to, I'll definitely. If somebody's already watching it, I'll watch it with them too. As like if it's all three are showing at once, I might watch it in a row depending on how I'm feeling. It all depends how I'm feeling. But I definitely watch Friday every chance I get. This definitely holds up. Great movie, just set in one day. R.P. Debo. This dude, I'm talking about a genuinely nice dude. He's seriously genuinely nice man. It's a shame that he passed away earlier in the year. It wasn't even too long ago when he passed away. But my cousin met him a few years back. I don't know if she was at a function or whatever. She just be like meeting these celebrities on random, and it's like kind of irks me. Like, where are you going just to meet these people? And they just happen to be there. Like, she took a picture with Debo one time. She was in a coffee shop, met Jesse Jackson. I think it was a coffee shop or something like that. Or he was in line or something like that. And she met Common on the street or something like that. Thing like it was like, wow. It was like, are you serious? I was like, I would give anything to meet Common. Like, but anyway, uh, but the Friday movies is like great movie franchise. They're supposed to be making the fourth one, but due to John Witherspoon, to Ice Cube's chagrin, uh, passed away early last year, I think, or late 2019. He was very upset because the studios kept putting off him making the Friday 4 while John Witherspoon was still around, so that way he can make a solid fourth one to wrap up the franchise, to make a solid fourth one, to also bring in Chris Tucker and Mike Epps in the same movie together, because Chris Tucker left the franchise after the first one, so Mike Epps continue on to be the partner of Ice Cube's character Craig. But to have Mike Epps and Chris Tucker in the same movie with Ice Cube, man, and Terry Crews, this is the first time we ever even seen Terry Crews in anything, because I think he was a bodyguard to Ice Cube at some point, and Ice Cube gave him a shot to be in the film, at least give him his shot. Period. And he's a big star now, but he also was in like what's that TV show based off that other Ice Cube movie? Shoot, what the heck was that? With Neil Long. What the heck was that doggone movie? The Kids. Chance the Rapper was the boy at the time, surprisingly. What the heck was that doggone movie? I'm pretty sure you guys will mention in the comments if you recall, but yeah, he made a TV show for that with Terry Crews as his character in the movie, with their raising a family with some with a wife and her own kids and that kind of thing, which is weird because it kind of like tweaked it a little bit because it was a sequel to that. Are We There Yet? That was the movie. Are We There Yet? It was Are We There Yet TV show. They made 2 of those. The sequel was when they was actually having like a kid and they lived in like a place they built themselves. But they kind of tweaked that in the TV show a bit because it wasn't the same house or neighborhood that they took so much time to build. And there was no baby or little kid. It's just those 2 kids and them. So they're kind of like, unless it's supposed to set in between, the second one's supposed to be set in between the first and the second one. But I don't know. The show ended, kind of abruptly. I don't even know how it ended. And I pop in every once in a while. I wasn't following that hard. But yeah, the Friday Movies is a great collection. Definitely check it out. If not, at least check out the first one. The first one, to this day, still holds up. Frozen. If I tell you right now, that Let It Go song, man, you talking about like something that gets stuck in your head. I am not kidding. That Frozen movie is good. But I wish, along with the sequel, I didn't watch the sequel, but I seen highlights of the sequel. It's like 90% song. And it's not like it isn't a good movie, but that little snowman is arguably more annoying than the Minions and the Despicable Me movies. I mean, no, scratch that. Those Minions wasn't annoying until they got their own movie. And then the third Despicable Me movie came out right after that. It was around that time when those things starting to become a little annoying. This snowman was always annoying. And it's like it was played by Josh Gad. Now Josh Gad is a good actor and everything like that, but this snowman was crazy annoying. Everybody, I guess, every little Disney anime probably has that one little token character that's supposed to sell toys. That's supposed to be cute or just one of those annoying little pieces of uh, plushy schlock that peddle to the kids. But uh, I wish they toned down the movie. I think those original Disney movies like Aladdin and Lion King had a right balance between the story and the songs, and one didn't take over the other. It was like, and they were memorable. All of them were memorable. But this movie only has like one good memorable song, which is "Let It Go," and everything else is pretty forgettable. Even though everybody's a great singer, except for like uh, uh, the guy Anna ends up with. I'm pretty sure her name was Anna and Elsa. But let's be honest, like Elsa is a freaking X-Men. She's a mutant. Everybody joked about that, but seriously though, she's pretty much Iceman, a female Iceman. And it's like, yeah, the Lego song, great, great song. I got that stuck in my head for days, man. Listen at your own peril, man. I tell you, it is, you know, it's like on a level of like catchy songs like, Who Let the Dogs Out, at least, some vein of that, There's no Who Let the Dogs Out, because, Who Let the Dogs Out by Baja Man was decent at the time. It was like those one and done kind of things. This Let It Go thing is when she sings those high notes, my God, it's like Mariah Carey level almost. But yeah, Frozen still highly recommended. It's a great one. The sequel, I prefer it would have just been Elsa's solo movie and everybody else just like put, just left out. But, this is my personal take. Ghost. Now, this is like the only Patrick Swayze movie that's on my list because this movie is like very good. It's like a highly probably the best Patrick Swayze movie personally that I enjoyed. The first one I've definitely seen. I've only seen like at least a couple of Patrick Swayze's movies, Ghost, Roadhouse, and Black Dog. But Ghost was the only one that kind of resonated with me as far as like a good Patrick Swayze film. Pretty much about a guy who got his life taken away from him too early. He soul sticks around as a ghost, just to look out for his girlfriend, just to make sure she's safe, because he found this big, massive plot against him and her. So Whoopi Goldberg is in this, plays as a medium to help him out. She's the only one who could see him. But it's a great film. Definitely recommend this period. Especially, this is another movie. It's like a pretty decent love story too. Not too cheesy. It's just the right amount of cheese. See you, Daniel. Take care. Yeah, this will be up on my YouTube channel later if you want to catch the rest of this. Speaking of ghosts, Ghostbusters. The first two movies, actually. But the first one was probably even better. Still better than the sequel. But the sequel still has like a good has like a warm spot in my heart for it. But Ghostbusters is like I've watched every Halloween. And Ghostbusters are highly, a little fact. Apparently, it wasn't supposed to have been good at all. On paper, the first one people thought it wasn't gonna fail. Everybody involved thought this was gonna be like a crappy B movie. The way you will never know how things turn out until it's put out into production. If you give it your all, and and you enjoy the craft and you enjoy the people that you're working with, uh, you'd be surprised how well it might turn out in the end. It's one of the quickly acclaimed movies of all time, and it's like you know, really uh, enjoyed every actor involved. Sigourney Weaver is in this. It's a shame that the female Ghostbusters movie, which I did see in the movie theaters, I was really rooting for that movie to do well. But man, I'm just shocked that it didn't stay. I'm surprised it didn't. I'm surprised it didn't live up to the status as the first Ghostbusters, or at least live up to the status of the second Ghostbusters. The second Ghostbusters movie, uh, technically, most people don't consider it that that good, but they still watch it. 1 second. But yeah, if by some weird circumstance you've never seen the first two Ghostbusters movie, please check it out in order, and you definitely would enjoy it. They made some. It's like right on the level of like He-Man and Power Rangers and Ninja Turtles. That there's so many. There's comics. There's so many toys. Uh, the Ecto One, like I mentioned earlier about like iconic vehicles. The Ecto One is one of the iconic cars. It's like their version. It's like their Batmobile in a way. It's got that iconic siren. And their home base is a fire station because they're pretty much like uh, their blue collar guys is doing a job just hunting ghosts. It's like pretty much like plumbers in a way. It's like you're getting called because it's like a haunting in your bathroom or something, and they come in there and take it out. Is and and they had like a TV show, two TV shows, one in the '80s and one in the '90s, and both are still good. But yeah, Ghostbusters is an entire franchise, and it's supposed to be like another remake with Harold Ramis, the late Harold Ramis's kid, who founds. I guess if you've seen the trailers a couple years back, because it's been a long time, I'm shocked that they hadn't. I guess since the pandemic, they had to hold production. I'm pretty sure they might pick it back up. But the nerdy this nerdy kid who my best guess is supposed to have been Harold Ramis's character's kid, and found the Ecto One. Him and his friends try to hunt ghosts. It's supposed to be like a legit sequel after all these years with like the rest of the original cast coming back as like passing a torch thing, or at least supposed to be mentoring these kids in a way. But yeah, hopefully that picks up. Hopefully that be uh, will turn out better than the Godfather franchise, and that is just like Back to the Future. The Godfather franchise is like an untouchable juggernaut. The third one obviously is not as good as the first two, but I do recommend you watch all three just to get an understanding of this entire film. This is like one of those well, definitely Coppola's best films to this day. But just in general, when you're talking about like one of those films, those quickly acclaimed films that everybody pretty much agree on is a juggernaut and a badass film, I kid you not, everybody would have The Godfather on their list. It's just like on a level of like the especially Godfather 2, right on the level of like Empire Strikes Back and Back to the Future. It's like those movies that's like a touchstone, and it's like very good. One of those good gangster films that it's uh you probably seen like at least a few times. Yeah, definitely. You know, Al Pacino's best work. Uh, uh, the guy who plays the original, like the actual father in the first one, actually is forgot his name that fast, but he's pretty much like he played Jor-El, I think, in the original Superman movie. I forgot his doggone name. Oh, my girls talks like this, you know. It's like I'm making an offer and he couldn't refuse. That that tone of voice that's so easily to be uh, not easy, but people get the gist of what you're trying to imitate. But yeah, so many iconic scenes, and they actually have obviously actually had to have like OG mobsters who used to be mobsters, but also that got out of the life, who consulted on the films. Excuse me, consulted on the films just to make sure to get like some accuracy to that. So that's probably why it's so authentic and so revered as great films. Uh, Another Eddie Murphy film, The Golden Child. This one's like a good movie where it's like, yeah, you got it's kind of like East meets West kind of movie, and of course, this one I saw as a kid like at least several times. It's like really good, but it's also has creepy moments. I'm not going to spoil anything. I want to leave that to you guys to see for yourselves. But if you've seen this movie, you know what I'm talking about. How it's had its little creepy moments. Well, one in particular is always had a great scene in this movie uh, when he has to hop over these little uh, columns, and he was instructed not to spill uh, a glass of water. Uh, but it's just like that's probably one of the funniest scenes in the entire movie. Is so hilarious. Uh, I forgot how it goes. Uh, like Eddie Murphy in this big cavern, and he's saying like, "How many people survived this place? None, none, none. I'm gonna kick your ass when I get out of here." Uh, and just like this whole thing is so funny. It's just like I do highly recommend it. It's, a lot of these are very old school movies, but uh, the stuff like I grew up watching in the like a lot of 80s and 90s movies I grew up watching is very good. Uh, Finally got to a Robin Williams movie. One of his best ones, Good Will Hunting. Uh, young Batfleck, John McDamon, just like you're talking about like people who age gracefully. These two definitely age gracefully, gracefully. And it's definitely the late Robin Williams is like fantastic. What are you talking about? Like I'm just talking about like finally got to a Robin Williams movie. I just talking about Aladdin in the previous video. What I'm talking about, but uh, uh, Robin Williams in this movie is one of his more less comedic, more somber films. There's another one on the list, but I just have to mention that yeah, Good Will Hunting is a fantastic movie, a very good dramatic movie. Uh, Everybody in this movie involved in this movie done a fantastic job. I think it's supposed to be set in Boston, of course, and you know, it's too much stuff in here. I don't want to spoil it because anything I say I might end up spoiling. I just want to let you guys know everybody involved. Robin Williams plays a psychiatrist towards Matt Damon, who's like someone who has to be there, I guess by court order, I think. But oh my God, it's so good, and I do definitely recommend you checking this out. If nothing else, just check out a good Robin Williams movie. Another gangster movie, Goodfellas. Obviously, technically not on the same level as Godfather, but still I respect it. Robert De Niro is amazing. Joe Pesci. Uh, I'm forgetting the last name. It's just like it's always on the tip of my tongue, and I'm forgetting the last. Ray Liotta. Yeah. Uh, all three so incredible in this movie. It's like Martin Scorsese. Despite how I disagree with him, how he and uh, Christopher Nolan put down superhero films, thinking it was not as true films. It's their opinion, but it's like I'm pretty sure back in their day, you know, when they was young and the old school Hollywood guys probably didn't think their films were considered cinema. So it's like it's funny how the people get all old and crotchety about like the new people's and their stuff they're lacking now compared to what they are doing or did at the time. But he does put out great movies, and of course Scorsese is so good in gangster movies for the most part, except for one that I can remember that's on this list, Wolf of Wall Street. I'll get to that soon. But yeah, Goodfellas is a great gangster movie. Like everybody involved is so fantastic. And Joe Pesci, despite his size, he can make himself very intimidating when he wants to be. And like you know, don't sleep on those short dudes because like it's always the short people that always got to be the most feisty. And it's usually the females. It's like I know a lot of short girls who are the most feistiest because they have to compensate for their diminutive size. And it might sound messed up. I kind of get a kick of watching a short girl trying to reach for something high and they have to find a stool or something like that trying to reach it. It always cracks me up. And it's like just one day, just to mess with them. I kind of when they're trying to reach for something, I kind of want to put it. I kind of want to just put it a little higher on the shelf, just to make it tough for her, just to make it even more tough for her to reach, just to mess with them, just for shits and giggles. But I know this sounds cruel, but it's just like short people and their problems, and it's like short problems is like I don't know, it's kind of get a laugh out of it, like it's a real problem. Anyway, man, a goofy movie. You talk about a good '90s movie. A goofy movie is definitely a hardcore '90s movie, and it's like, my God, that woman, the love interest in this movie. You talking about like there's certain cartoons that made people, furries, low key. Like Lola Bunny and Space Jam, and this girl, uh, Roxanne. I think it was Roxanne. I'm pretty sure it's Roxanne. Uh, you know, really got like boys low key getting into like some furry stuff. And the flip side of that, what I heard from a lot of females, there was like the Robin Hood movie with an animated Robin Hood movie with Robin Hood as a fox. Got a lot of girls turned out. I don't. I mean, I can see why. I mean, like, well, not in that way, but it's like I should be able to understand because like I saw Roxanne and Lola Bunny, especially Lola Bunny. I'm like, and Jessica Rabbit, and got me like horny for cartoons. And I was like I'm horny for this cartoon character. And it's like I definitely would bang this cartoon character. It's like no joke. But a Goofy movie, Max and Goofy, man, he's talking about like Leaning Tower of Cheats and like Powerline song. I mean, like you talking about like a good road trip movie too. Goofy and his dad and their dynamics, and it's like, you know, these two are just, like a this is like great film. It's like I do highly recommend you show this to your kids. This is a great film just to sit down and watch with them. If you grew up with this movie, I'm pretty sure they will like this movie too. Great film. I cannot recommend it enough. This is like phenomenal. I love a Goofy movie. All right, The Great Gatsby. It's a good Leo DiCaprio movie. I do enjoy, and like he was phenomenal in The Great Gatsby, and then Tobey Maguire as the co-star in here is just those two together. I love everything about this film. Uh, Up to the third act. The third act, it kind of fell apart slightly for me. It ends. It's based off a book. It ends how it ends, but just like it's just kind of like kind of not lost interest. It's just like oh, but the first and second act was just like so high, and it's just like then just to get to that so low part, and it's like I just want more of the first two acts. I want to keep carrying it on, like him and his wild parties, and just like them together, just you know, bouncing dialogue off each other. It's just like everything's fantastic. One of these days, if you have not seen The Great Gatsby, check it out. If not, just for the first act alone, because it just starts off with not starts off, but it shortly gets into this big massive party, which something I want to do one day with me. A lot of people that like I know, friends and family. I want to throw a Great Gatsby party, and it's just like a fun party, and just me just in my tux, just watching everybody just having a good time, just me just chilling in the background kind of thing. But yeah, Great Gatsby, great film, and probably one of my favorite, uh, you know, uh, Leo DiCaprio roles that he just plays so well. Even more so than like that. What's that movie he finally got an Oscar for when he like got attacked by that bear? I forgot what it's called. I didn't really care for that movie, to be honest with you. But that and Wolf of Wall Street should have been like movies that he should have gotten an Oscar for. I know people have like an issue with like Oscars and like it seems like very, uh, you know, like paddle back kind of participation kind of events, just to suck each other off kind of situations. It's like, but it's just like I did gotta get a thrill when I saw Leo DiCaprio finally get an Oscar because it's well deserved. He's a great actor and he deserved his accolades. The Grinch. Now, I'll get to Jim Carrey stuff when I get to Jim Carrey stuff because he's coming up soon. But there's been many interpretations of the Grinch. I do like the original Grinch cartoon, the short version. That still holds up to me. But when you watch Dr. Seuss's Benedict Cumberbatch's The Grinch, it really captures the color and like the crisp. Like when you see like that winter wonderland, you feel like if you've been to Chicago before, you can feel that cold, that crisp cold, especially during the daytime. It just like it captures the holiday, and uh, I I put it slightly above Jim Carrey's Grinch because that dark, depressing, sewage covered crap. I mean, it wasn't crap to me at the time because I'm an apologist when it comes to Jim Carrey because I love Jim Carrey. He wasn't bad as the Grinch. It wasn't like a bad acting choice. Despite him trying to do what he does in that makeup and suit and still manage to pull it off, that's incredible feat on his own. But everything around him was like, I mean, there's something to him when they was trying to tell a particular story in his version when capitalism and like taking commercialism too far when it comes to this holiday and missing the spirit of it. But this one is slightly better because like this one is voiced by Benedict Cumberbatch, and man, his accents, man, I tell you, they should just let Benedict Cumberbatch do his English accent. To be honest, because people say he can do American accents. It's just that when it falls flat for people, those are the people that always constantly talking about like, yeah, it's just Benedict Cumberbatch doing his American accent. And he had to sound it out like this, like an American. And it's like, it's nasally, kind of sound like Dr. Venture. And it's like, I watched this like nostalgia critic based in Chicago. I met them. They're a funny group of people, and they pointed that out, and they put it so pointedly. It's like, yeah, this is like his accent is goofy sometimes, and he kind of shifts between Dr. Venture sometimes, and into Jim Carrey's Grinch sometimes too, and it's weird. But I still, and they took it off of Netflix, last year, right when I wanted to see it for December, and it's like it's a weird choice. I really wanted to see that on Netflix because I watched it several times, and it's like kind of like the atmosphere of this cartoon, but like the original Grinch cartoon by Dr. Seuss, the short version still holds up, still better than both technically. But I gotta say, uh, this Benedict Cumberbatch's Grinch, uh, definitely above uh, Jim Carrey's version. Jim Carrey's version is like low tier. This is be the second tier, and then the original still at the top. Definitely show this to your kids. It's still a very good movie. If you want a longer interpretation of the original version, you can show them this. But you can show them all the Grinch stuff if you want to. But in this, if you want to get into like real holiday feels and everything like that, this is not too bad to put on. Finally, the Halloween movie. This one is definitely like a very, very good. Like I don't like the sequels, but this one still holds up as far as like the incredible uh, film. Great, everything, the cinematography, the tone, the the score, like everything involved in this. The actors, well, I like I like shoot, what's her doggone name? Uh, Dang it! I'm about to say Sigourney Weaver. That's not it. Uh, Jamie Lee Curtis. Jamie Lee Curtis played a lot of horror movies back in the day. I think she loved being involved in horror films, but this is the first time a lot of people took notice of her. But it's just like she was great in this, as far as like an active. Uh, I mean, of course, she like one of those scared women, but she like an active, scared person in a horror movie. Uh, and the recent reboot to the like a proper quote unquote sequel to this in like recently in the past couple of years ago. I think it was 2019 when a rebooted sequel to this uh, where she don't think Michael Myers will be locked up forever. So she is an older woman now, you know, who lost, I don't want to say lost touch with her family, but it's kind of like estranged from her family because they think she's like a crazy old lady now who has her house built like a fortress just to make sure that she's more properly prepared to deal with Michael Myers if he returns. And it's kind of like one of those movies where it's like I kind of think like you know that's a good idea, like a twist of the horror films, like all the any survivors of any like Nightmare for Elm Street or Chucky or whatever. It's like any survivors, you know, taking like an active role to fight against these creatures that terrorize them as teenagers. And it's like, I'm wise to your tricks now, and I can be more properly prepared for these kind of guys if they ever come back again. And it's like that'd be an interesting take on the horror genre. Like, you got these creatures come back to stalk people, especially the main character, but they more prepared this time and ready to like kick some ass. That'd be like an interesting take. But yeah, the first Halloween movie, definitely watch this on Halloween or at least in October because like you'll be remiss not to do so. It's very good. Speaking of Halloween movies, Halloweentown. You cannot tell me you do not love Halloweentown. If you grew up in the 90s and watched those original Disney Channel movies, Halloweentown, well, I like the first two. They did like a third and a fourth one, but the first two Halloweentown movies are still holds up to me. Marnie, like, she's so adorable, and it's just like, yeah, I'm surprised she didn't get more roles. I'm pretty sure she got roles, but it's probably bit parts and stuff like Hallmark or something like that. But I wish he could have ascend to the status of like Justin Timberlake, because he started as like a Disney star too. But yeah, Halloweentown. It's like, you know, and I forgot the lady who was related to Princess Leia. This lady, the older lady who plays the witch, their grandmother. Uh, I'm blanking on a lot of people's names at the last moment, but yeah, she passed away a couple years back, and then um, I think it was like before or after. Uh, I'm gonna shame myself for forgetting Princess Leia's, the actress's name that fast, but you know who I'm talking about. It was before or after one of them passed first, and then the other followed suit. But I think it was uh, Princess Leia who passed away first, and then she followed suit. Like a month or two after the fact, because she was just that distraught, and I didn't know they was even related, which was like a shock to me. But she was a great actress. I loved her in this as like the grandmother, and it's like Halloweentown. It's like you feel Halloweentown, and it's like you want to go there. It's just like you want to live in like as soon as like I kid you not, and a lot of people agree with me. The moment, the like halfway to the last week of September, leading into uh the first week of January, people want to live in that atmosphere of Halloween and fall and Christmas and New Year's. That collab of holidays is just a sweet spot for a lot of people. It's just like it gets you in the mood for like Halloween, and especially Halloween. Halloween is like a great, the fall holidays. You get in the mood for all these Halloween parties, hanging out with your kids and family, and going to all these functions, dressing up, and drinking and having a tons of candy without no worries of like getting fat or anything like that. You just Thanksgiving, you just eat a lot of calories, screwed working out. You can say that until the new year, and then Christmas, and get on this Christmas stuff, and you get involved with all these functions and watching all these holiday movies. It's just all this stuff rolled into one. I just want to live in, and a lot of people agree. They just want to live in uh, that 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 long season that blends together perfectly. Harlem Nights, man, that is a great film too. Richard Pryor, uh, R.I.P. Richard Pryor, man. Him and Eddie Murphy in this was just phenomenal. I remember watching Eddie Murphy Raw. It was on this VHS tape that my stepmother had. And, me and my little brother wasn't supposed to watch, but it's a comedy movie. Didn't think it was no harm to it. It's Eddie Murphy, for God's sake. But he was sitting there. It was during the '80s. It was like right after, I guess, he did his comedy show called Delirious. But uh, it was hilarious. It's like a raunchy comedy show, and I guess we wasn't supposed to be watching. But like, who like, I guess, like, as a parent, you don't want your kids to listen to that kind of crap. But it's just like, honestly, it was hilarious. I didn't give a crap. But it's just like, you know, I think it was my fault looking back, because like I think I left the tape in the VCR. I don't know if it was my little brother or me 100%, but I'm pretty sure I'm like 70 to 80% think it was my fault who left the tape and then got busted, because we came home from school one time and my stepmother and my father had the thing playing on TV, and she was like, "You want to explain why I found this in the TV? Who? So y'all want y'all know?" It's like, well, we're sneering into like the comedy show, and I understand you're trying to like be serious about this moment that we wasn't supposed to watch something that's like, you know, meant for kids, but you're not doing a very good job when I'm sending a snickering to the comedy, and you're trying to be serious, and it's like you're kind of messing up the tone you're trying to set. But the only reason I bring that up, because like in one of the jokes in the show was when which is ironic, given the fact that because Eddie Murphy on his coming up uh, uh, got a call. Apparently, he told a story about how he got a call from Bill Cosby because Bill Cosby kid at the time went to go see one of his shows. I think it was probably Delirious, and he came back home saying like all this like flip farm filth, and Bill was like where'd you learn all that? Like oh dad, I come back and he was saying all these things. Like what did he say? He's kind of doing the stuff, and what did he do? It's not like hey suck this and that mouth and get some big back stuff and stick it down your mouth, suck it, suck it, suck it, suck it, suck it, suck it, and like Bill like so like what is my kid learning like and he somehow got Eddie Murphy's number, called him up. It's like and Eddie Murphy at the time was like, oh my god, Bill is a legend and all this other stuff. It's like, hey Bill, what's going on, man? It's like, my son went to one of your shows and like like you know I have to talk to you about how like I had to talk to you about all the things you said on the Discovery Show. And it's like oh my god, like what did I say? It's like, come on, I can't repeat things that you use, but you understand about flip farm filth. Like I didn't say no flip farm filth. I was gonna assume that you said it. Fuck it. And it's like, and then like he, I guess Bill went all in an uproar about it. It's like, you know, and then like you cannot say fuck in front of people. And then Eddie Murphy got upset because like, you know, as like he was like who is this guy? I mean, like I understand who he is, this guy, but it's like it's my thing. Why like I gotta censor myself because your kid came home repeating stuff like that. And it's like it's my comedy show. He's gonna hear some stuff. And he's not gonna be all clean like yours. And he called up Richard Pryor because he's friends with Richard Pryor at the time. And it's like, and Richard Pryor told him like, you know, like he says like, the next time motherfucker called, tell him I said suck my dick, like jello pudding eating motherfucker, and that was so funny. And it's like, and Richard Pryor told him like, the people laugh and say, the people laugh when you say what you say, and Eddie Murphy like yeah, say yeah. The people you get paid, and he's like yeah. Then tell Bill I said had a coke and a smile and tell him shut the fuck up. The jello pudding eating motherfucker, and that was just so hilarious to me. That's probably one of my favorite parts of that comedy show. And when I saw them together on Harlem Nights, I loved this movie that much more. It's set in like 1930s, 1940s. It's one of those gangster films, and it's a very good film, with, especially these two comedic, you know, geniuses with Red Fox and Charlie Murphy was in it, which is at the time he had like a bit part. He wasn't like well known, but it wasn't until Chappelle Show until like I looked back on Harlem Nights long afterwards, and then I realized that was Charlie Murphy sitting in a room in this movie. That blew my mind. Uh, like I said, like certain things you look back on, you know, you didn't realize until years later that they was in these little movies that you enjoyed as a kid that you didn't even recognize. But yeah, Harlem Nights is a great film. Check it out. It's hilarious. Arsenio Hall is in this too. The guy who played Tommy on Martin, he's in this. So it's like it's a good gangster film. It's hilarious. Not like a parody on of gangster films, but it's like, you know, the Harlem of the 1940s take on gangster films and with some comedic elements to it. Harry Potter, man. Harry Potter, the entire franchise. I cannot, I have my favorites. The Sorcerer's Stone, the first one, still my all-time favorite one to this day. Then Prisoner of Azkaban is a good second. With the guy who played Commissioner Gordon in the Nolan films, and he also played Dracula back in the day. He was in that. as Sirius Black. Uh, uh, but yeah, the entire franchise, Daniel Radcliffe was like phenomenal. He's easily one of my favorite actors, and I enjoyed everything he's involved in. Uh, Anything he's in, I definitely want to at least check out. He was in this TV show uh, on TBS called uh, uh, I forgot what his doggone called. Dang it! It's like it had 2 seasons and kind of like shifted. You know, like season one was pretty much him as like a low level angel working for God, and him working inside other angels trying to like convince God not to blow up the earth, kind of deal that they had with him, kind of situation. But yeah, he's good in everything, and it's like, Daniel Radcliffe is amazing. Of course, he didn't end up like. Of course, everybody still recognizes him as Harry Potter. That's not going to go away. He will always be Harry Potter to a lot of us. But he did not end up like a lot of people who placate to a particular character, and that's all people know them from. He did so well in other things that it's like you recognize him as good and a good actor, not just good in this one thing. Not like people for a long time uh, correlate Michael Keaton to just Batman all the time. He did more than just that. So he has like the acting chops to do what uh, needs to be done in any role he's in. But Harry Potter just it was my cousin Katrina back in the day bugged me and a lot of our relatives about because she loved Harry Potter. I think she has all the books, but she kept convincing us she loved this and The Sims is probably her favorite two things that she kept uh, uh, talking about. It's probably with me when it comes to like Darius War and Yu-Gi-Oh and Pokemon. I guess I'm the same way for those kind of things, but this was like her things. But if it wasn't for her to convince us, I was like, okay, let me check this out. She really liked them. Check it out. But man, it wasn't for this, I wouldn't have the respect or at least admiration for like magic stuff as I do now. Because when Yu-Gi-Oh, my favorite character, the Dark Magician, favorite Yu-Gi-Oh card of all time. I love the Dark Magician Girl, Harry Potter, Doctor Strange, Doctor Fate from DC, Zatanna from DC, Constantine from DC, uh, like Scarlet Witch. I have so much appreciation for anything that's magic related that I'm all for. I'm for for the most part, like any occult stuff and all that stuff all stems from pretty much like probably Harry Potter if it wasn't like that hit me at that age that I just love this whole magic stuff. I could have done without all that spider crap. I hate when everybody involved in spiders and certain giant spiders in general and certain stuff. I do not want to deal with that. I can't. I fucking can't. No. No, thank you. No. But beside all that, this film franchise was like it was pretty much WB's cash cow for the longest time, and then now they got DC to placate off of to generate some revenue because they can now they're doing like multiversal stuff, which will be definitely very interesting to check out. But yeah, Harry Potter. If you haven't seen, which I doubt, there's very little people out there who probably haven't seen any of the Harry Potter movies, definitely check out Harry Potter. It's a great film. And I do like to thank my cousin Katrina for recommending this so highly when we were kids. I love this freaking franchise. It's a great franchise. Harry Potter is amazing. Oh, heck. Huh. What the heck? There's supposed to be more to this than that. Hold on a second. What the heck? Sorry, everybody. I don't know what just happened. There's more to it than this. Be right with you guys. Okay. 1 second. Sorry. Don't know what just happened. Yeah. Don't know what just happened. Huh. Guess I had to make a part 3. Sorry about that. Be right with you. So yeah, I'll be right with you in a moment with some more films. So I just gotta work some slideshows. So I'll see you guys in a moment.